Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation, a monetized Suspended Fanimation, as you can tell by the super chat that Movie Fanobi already ponying up some money with. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to The Nevers, Season 1, Episode 4, Undertaking. We only have 2 more episodes left, by the way. So before I get into it, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. If you like what you see here, I should say, hit that subscribe button down there. Also, if you want to know when we be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it out every week. I changed it out yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I also have the links to all my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Yes, I know I haven't put up the tiers yet on Patreon. It was a holiday this weekend, and yeah, so that was the whole thing. Orthodox Easter, there you go. Also, I have the links to my page, this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. That was the reason also why the Nevers moved over to Monday night, just for this week, because, yeah, I had stuff I was doing. It was a first gathering of the family. It's all vaccinated, so it was actually kind of weird and interesting at the same time, but nice. So, all right, let's get down to it. Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right, you know how that works? You know how spoilers work? Yes, no, yes, no. All right. Oh. So I finally realized something, and I probably should have picked up on this a little bit sooner. This is essentially Joss Whedon's X-Men, done in Victorian era, which I think a lot of Joss Whedon stuff is all X-Men. He's a huge X-Men fan, and because yes, he even wrote a comic. He wrote the Astounding X-Men. He wrote for a year he wrote one issue a month. So he wrote the 12 issues, the first 12 issues of that comic. Good comic, actually, really good comic. So yeah, this is essentially his X-Men set in Victorian England, with a mostly female cast. So once you kind of understand that, you kind of know where things are kind of going for the most part. But in this episode, I know I've been kind of down on it and on this series, that it hasn't been picking up, that it hasn't been, I guess you could say, living up to expectations, if you will. It's been kind of a meh show for the most part for me. This episode, we get some interesting stuff happening. This is, of course, after Mary gets killed. We have Mary's funeral. We have we get a new group of people coming in called the Purists, who are, they wear pink, I guess, like pink armbands and pink sashes, and harass, those people that are touched, and probably going to do more than that, of course. And we find out that through this episode that Lord Masson was the one that released the dude with the Gatling gun, Malady's right-hand man, I guess you could say, and the one who killed Mary. And we find this out because Mrs. True actually goes, and she has a vision that she's going to talk to him. She goes to see him, and he pretty much tells her flat out that, yeah, he was the one that did it, and that they're in the middle of a war, and that he has a mole within her organization, within the orphanage. And yeah, that was actually kind of shocking, the whole thing with Lucy being the mole in this. And it didn't really make sense as to why she turned, other than she says that she tells Miss Adair that Mrs. True, excuse me, Mrs. True, that she doesn't understand what the fuck's going on in her own orphanage. She doesn't understand any of the people. And of course, she saves Lucy's life there, doesn't kill her, and just basically says, you're out of London. You can't stay in London. You're out. you know. And it was just kind of one of these things. I was like, where the fuck did this come from? They really didn't. There was nothing set up, and I think it's because it's going so fast. It's only 6 episodes that they didn't have any time to build up to anything, and Whedon's kind of cribbing from his own playbook, I guess you could say, and he wasn't doing it well. And also, he was taken out midway through the season too. I think episode 2 was the last one he wrote, actually. So he was in the first quarter. He was taken out, first third, I guess you could say, of the season. And I don't know if that hurt or not. So, hey, Penn. Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's keep on working. And the one thing that was interesting, though, I have to admit, was Myrtle. So Myrtle telling Primrose that she heard Mary's song, because Mary kept saying the song. She didn't know what the song meant. It's just that she sung it. It came through her. And Myrtle, actually, the one with all the languages, actually understood that it was something else, that it was a message. And the only thing is, no one understands Myrtle because she speaks all kinds of languages all at the same time. So we had Harriet actually assembles a whole bunch of people that speak all these different languages, and they cobble together a note that basically that the song was saying, and the song was actually singing to Mrs. True, and basically telling her that it's essentially the thing that is under the ground there that we see Mrs. Bidlow digging up, using touched people to dig up, and it's basically saying, "Come find me, help me," kind of thing, all this kind of stuff. We don't know what it is, but it was the thing that was singing through Mary, and basically the message was cut off when Mary died, of course. So that was actually fairly interesting, and probably I wish we could have gotten to that a little bit sooner, and maybe even in episode 3, so that we could have 3 episodes to kind of play that out. That was a much more interesting find than the whole thing with Lucy turning and all that. Um, Also, Melody gets caught doing something really stupid. I mean, she goes into the police station and essentially kills the chief of police, just to give Monday a message that the papers got it all wrong, that she's not the one that's killing people. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe Melody, the voices that she's hearing, because she keeps talking to whatever voice it is the same voice that was singing through Mary. Only Melody is so fucked up, from all the abuse and everything that's happened to her, that she misinterpreted. She's twisted the message in some way, that that's why she's doing all these killings, is to basically stop the voices from in her head. And that could be the reason too. We don't know. But Monday keeps her from being, killed by the police, because they want to, all the cops want to kill her, and instead she's going to have a trial. She's going to, most likely be hung. Is what's going to happen there. And we also get Miss Adair ends up talking to Augie and finds out the real thing that happened. The reason why he was a dick, and it was because of his sister, who told him, to stay away from her, and she can never be one of us. You can't marry her, and all that stuff. And yeah, so that's all taken care of. Yeah, and some of the things I'm that's kind of hamstringing me on this show is, okay. So I get it that Mrs. True's ability of seeing the future only comes in flashes. She can't control it, but she saw nothing of Mary's death whatsoever. She saw nothing of Lucy being a mole, who obviously was there for a while, because they put, Lord Mason, or Lord Masson, put this plan into place 3 years before, right? He wanted to take care of the touch 3 years prior. So obviously he placed her in the orphanage early on, considering that Lucy was one of the first people to come to the orphanage, as Mrs. True says. And then what the fuck is Mrs. Bidlow's deal? What is she touched? Is she not? Because she was not at the opera, or at least we couldn't see her when Mary was singing. So only the touched were you saw the music going towards the touched, and she wasn't anywhere to be found. So we don't know if she's touched or not. Yeah, there we go. I don't know, man. I'm kind of hoping this thing does find a way of wrapping itself up in a way. Um, and what the fuck is in that big ball that's underneath London that's being dug out? Um, my guess is it's going to be either going to be a power that someone absorbs, most likely Malady is going to absorb it, or it's going to be another person who is going to be the leader of all the touched at this point, the chosen one, if you will. Which I hope that's not the case, because honestly, the chosen one trope has really, really been played out. Yes, exactly, Penn. We don't know what Maston's daughter, what happened to her, and the whole thing with Swan being framed so that Monday would go after him was kind of interesting. I guess Masson was up to that one as well, but I'm not sure. I can almost see that happening, but we don't know for sure. And yeah, it's I don't know. Um, Penn says, for some reason, I feel bad. I feel bad for Melody too. So she's basically gotten the shit end of the stick of all of this. Um, she was beaten, abused, thrown in an insane asylum, if you will. Obviously, her friend, who she thought was her friend, who is now Mrs. True, uh, abandoned her at one point, and she even admits that she did as well, and which led more to her, I guess, psychosis, if you will. And then add to that, you have this voice in her head that she can't interpret because of all the shit that is twisted around in her head. And it's just a really bad, bad thing. I like the actors too, Penn. It's just, I wish they would have cleaned up the storyline a little bit more. It seems, I don't know, almost like it needed a couple more passes through the story to I think the production might have been rushed. I think that's what it is. The production might have been rushed, um, and they just didn't get enough time to kind of finalize things. Maybe they knew Whedon was on his way out of course, they probably knew Whedon was on his way out with everything that was happening, and it was just a matter of time before he lost his job and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? But we'll find out. I saw the sneak preview for episode 5, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Penn says they could still pull it off, but will they? I don't know. You got 2 episodes left. Joker says this is X-Men meets PBS Masterpiece Theater. Yeah, it's kind of like the X-Men meets Downton Abbey. I agree with you, Joe. It is a little bit, the X-Men meets Downton Abbey. But once you realize that it's the X-Men, that's the basis for a lot of Whedon's work. Yeah, it kind of falls into place at that point. You have to have 2 factions, that sometimes work together, and yeah, it's I don't know. Penn says, but it made it past the 4-episode criterion. So the reason why it made it past the 4-episode criterion, because it's just kind of bland, honestly. It's kind of I hate to say it, it's kind of middle of the road. And I was looking forward to a lot more from this. And I don't know if I didn't really set any expectations when I was coming into this. I didn't know anything about it when I came into it. I just watched it with an open mind, and then I was just kind of like, "That's it? Yeah, yeah, uh, I don't know." X-Men Abbey, exactly. Downton Matterport. Oh man. So what else do I have going on this week? Well, funny you should ask. Tomorrow is going to be the premiere episode of The Bad Batch. That's right. The Bad Batch falls on Star Wars Day. So the first episode of The Bad Batch is going to be tomorrow. Wednesday is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, I'm going to be tackling Tenant. Yes, I know Tenant came out in theaters a while ago, but it just got released on HBO Max, and I wasn't about to pay for it. Other than HBO Max price, that it's already there. So I'm going to cover Tenant on Is It Worth My Time? Thursday, I'm going to be off. Friday is going to be the second episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Um, Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where we take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And we talk about it. Sunday will be the Nevers, episode 5, the penultimate episode of the season 1. And then, of course, Monday I'll be off because, that's when I normally am off there. So, Joker says it's going to be a great discussion about Tenant. Maybe, maybe not. I've got some misgivings, shall we say. I'll talk about it. But I was reading a couple of things on it just to give you a little preview of it. I was reading a couple of articles that were saying they explained Tenant and all of this, and I'm like, okay, and how difficult it was to understand. And then I'm reading a couple of articles, and they're all saying the same thing, and that's exactly how I watched the movie, how I understood it. And I was like, well, yeah, I got it the first time around. I mean, it's not like, it's a difficult concept to grasp, but yeah, I knew what he was going with. That's all I'm going to say. I'll save it for Wednesday. Yeah. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. And by the way, yes, I am monetized, as you can see. You're going to start seeing ads, I believe, on this. So you already saw ads before, but now I actually get a piece of those ads. YouTube. Oh man. So watch as many commercials as you can. No, I'm kidding. I'm not supposed to actually say that. So don't. Just do what you normally do. All right. Thank you to everybody joining me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. Let's see. Actually, let me plug stuff. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. If you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can as well, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when we'll be on live next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, all the links to my social media are there, and all the pages are there as well. There we go. All right. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for the, Star Wars The Bad Batch, and also for Star Wars Day. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may wind up hearing voices from some blue orb that's buried underneath London that's telling you to find it because it's worried or something like that. But who knows? Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and take care. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.